morning students. So this is the fourth session of this class, consumption and investment. Okay, so in the last class we saw about the consumption functions and its attributes. Then we saw the proportions of consumption. Very good morning students. So this is the fourth session of this class, consumption and investment. Okay, so in the last class we saw about the consumption functions and its attributes. Then we saw the proportions of consumption functions, and then we saw about the investment function. So up to investment function we have stopped. Okay, so today we are going to see about marginal efficiency of capital. So see, what do you mean by marginal efficiency of capital? Okay, now let us see what do you mean by marginal efficiency of capital. This concept, marginal efficiency of capital, was first introduced by J.M. Keynes. This concept was first introduced by J.M. Keynes in 1936. Okay, and it explains about, that is, its major objectives is to determine the autonomous investment. See here, autonomous investment means, that is, it is not an planned one. It is an unplanned one. It is based on the government, where the income is inelastic. The main motive of the autonomous investment is it is an welfare motive. So it is based on the government. So it is an unplanned one. So where profit is not the major thing. So here the marginal efficiency of capital, which explains the important determinants of autonomous investment. See here, the determinants of autonomous investment means, generally autonomous investment is a welfare motive. It is an unplanned one. It is based on the government, where income is inelastic. But certain time this autonomous investment is also changes. See how we saw before that consumption is mainly depend on income. Consumption is mainly depend on income. So when income increases, consumption increases. If income decreases, consumption also decreases. Okay, but there are certain factors which made the consumption also change. The same thing as it is here, the autonomous investment also will change. Then we saw about the investment. So investment is mainly depend on the rate of interest. So if rate of interest is increase or decrease, the investment also changes. But rate of interest is not only the reason for changes in the investment, but some other factors are responsible for changes in the investment. The same as it is here, marginal efficiency of capital, which explains, that is, the determinants of autonomous investment. So autonomous investment also will change due to certain factors. Okay, let us see the meaning of marginal efficiency of capital. See, marginal efficiency of capital means what? Marginal. Generally, marginal means it is an additional. Okay. So marginal means it is an additional. So marginal efficiency of capital, that means what? Efficiency of capital. So additional made to the capital. So if capital asset is added, what happens to the rate of returns? When money it's keep on added means, if investment is keep on added means, what happens to the returns? So why we are keep on investing? So why we are doing an additional? on capital asset. So what is the reason? If we invest means, generally if we invest means, we will receive certain amount as a profit. If additional capital asset which has been increased means, what happens to the profit? So whether the profit will increase or the profit will decrease. So when there is an additional capital is added, additional capital asset is added, what happens to the returns? So here they have mentioned the value of expected income stream equal to the cost of capital. Expected means what? See, I am investing just an amount means my expectations, that is my profit should be certain amount. This is the amount if I have invested means certain amount should be I should receive. So this is my expectation. So when I invest 1 lakh rupees means my expectations, that is my profit should be 1,50,000. Okay. So usually I have invested 1 lakh and my returns is 1,50,000. Okay. Now what happens? Additional asset, that is additional capital asset, I am just adding. So what will be my expected returns through the additional? For example, now I have invested 1 lakh. So my expectations, that is I receive a profit as 1,50,000. Now additionally 50,000 I am just adding. So what will be my profit now? So I am expecting certain amount of profit. So when I have invested 1 lakh, my profit is 1,50,000. Now I am just adding additional capital asset. So for example, 1,50,000 I am investing means, so my expected returns through my capital asset is 1,75,000. So this is called as an expected income stream equal to the cost of capital. So marginal efficiency of capital means expected profitability of an additional capital asset. Expected, I am expecting. Normally if I invest means I will just receive certain amount of profit means, if additionally if I am adding some more capital asset means, so what will be my expected returns? So how much I will receive? So I have additionally 50,000 I have added means, so additionally how much profit I would be received. So this is called as an marginal efficiency of capital. So it is clear, marginal efficiency of capital means is the expected profitability of an additional capital asset. So just go through your textbook, have your textbook in your hand and just go through marginal efficiency of capital. So marginal efficiency of capital means is the expected profitability of an additional capital asset. Okay. So it may be defined as highest rate of returns over an expected from additional unit of capital asset. That is, I am expecting highest rate of returns. So if I have invested certain amount means through that how much profit I would be received. So that is called as a marginal efficiency of capital. Okay. So this marginal efficiency of capital depends on two factors. So one is prospective yield from asset and another one is an supply price of capital asset. Okay. So now we will see the marginal efficiency of capital depend on two factors. One is prospective yield from capital asset and another one is an supply price of capital asset. Okay. Let us see the first one. Prospective yield from capital asset means what? So prospective yield of capital asset is the total net returns from the asset over its lifetime. That is, that the income which is received throughout the lifetime through that asset, it is called as a prospective yield from capital. See here, prospective yield of capital asset is the total net returns from the asset over its lifetime. So over the lifetime, so how much of profit we have received through that capital. For example, take an example of machineries. Okay, so I have invested in machineries. So it has been worked for more than 20 years or 30 years. So over the period, so it has an 30 years a lifetime. So during that period, how much profit that machinery has earned. That machinery has earned over its lifetime. So this is called as a prospective yield of capital asset. Okay. Next we come to know about an supply price of capital asset. Supply price of capital asset means if the supply price of capital asset, for example, if it is 20,000 means if the supply price of the capital asset, if an asset worth is 20,000 means, and its annual yield means at the end of the year, how much it has been received. Okay, so how much income which has been received through that capital asset. Okay, so this is called as a marginal efficiency of asset. So it will be calculated in a percentage manner. So during a year, how much this machinery or capital which has given as a profit, how much profit would have been received through this asset during this 1 year. So this is called as an supply price of capital asset. See, prospective yield means that during the entire life period, how much of benefit, how much of profit which has been received through that capital asset. Supply price of capital asset means per annum how much of profit would have been received through that capital asset. So is it clear, students? See, MEC, marginal efficiency of capital, depends on two factors. One is prospective yield from capital asset. Second one is supply price of capital asset. So prospective yield from capital asset means during the lifetime, how much of profit would have been received through an capital asset. Capital asset means just take it in a manner as a machineries. Okay. Supply price of capital asset means how much of profit would have been received through the capital asset during a period of year. During 1 year, how much would have been received. So it has been calculated through percentage. So that is called as a supply price of capital. Okay. Now let us see how these factors affecting MEC. Generally, marginal efficiency of capital, how it has been affected. See here, marginal efficiency has two things, that is 3 factors that are taken into consideration while making an investment decision. So first one is an cost of the capital asset. So first they will decide the cost of capital asset. Second one, expected returns, rate of returns from during its lifetime. Third one, market rate of interest. See, very important, marginal efficiency of capital means additional, that is expected profitability of an additional capital asset. If I am adding few more capital asset means, so what is the profit would have been received. So that is called as a marginal efficiency of capital. So this marginal efficiency of capital which has been dependent on 3 factors. So one is cost of the asset. So the value of the asset. If the value is too costly, okay, so we can't able to invest. So if it is too low means it will be an old technology. So first the producer will be thinking about the cost of the capital asset. Second one, is the expected rate of returns during its lifetime. So if we purchase an additional machineries or asset, okay, so how much profit would be received through its lifetime? That is the second factors which is affecting MEC. Third one is an market rate of interest. So market rate of interest means if the availability of interest rate, if interest rate is too high, so the producer will not be able to get an loan from the bank because the interest rate is too high. So interest rate is also another factor which affect the marginal efficiency of capital. Again I will repeat, marginal efficiency of capital means is the expected profitability of an additional capital asset. Okay, so if I am adding few more capital means, so what is the profit would be received? That is called as a marginal efficiency of capital. So this marginal efficiency of capital was introduced by J.M. Keynes in 1936. Okay, now we will see about marginal efficiency of capital is influenced by short run as well as long run factors. Okay, so let us see the first one. It is a short run function. Okay, so what is short run factor? So under short run we have 5 factors which determines the marginal efficiency of capital. Okay, now we will see the short run factors. First one is an demand for the product. So let me repeat the first one. See, marginal efficiency of capital means additional, that is expected profitability of an additional capital asset. If I am adding additional capital means, so what will be my profit? Okay, so that is called as a marginal efficiency of capital. So under that, short run factors, demand for the product. So see here, first factors which changes the investment. See, if there is an demand for an product, if there is an demand for the product and the cost are likely to fall. If there is demand is more but the cost is low, so what happens to the investment? So automatically, if there is an demand means people, that is an entrepreneur, used to invest. So what happens here? The investment will be high. It's a general mentality of an entrepreneur. So when there is a demand for the product means automatically investment will be too high. So take an example, the present situations. Okay, so during this lockdown period, okay, so everything, the education which has been conducted through online. So internet is the most important one and the availability of phone is most important one. So now what happens? Each and every student required an cell phone. So now see the entrepreneur mentality. Now what happens? The demand for the cell phones availability is too high. The demand for the cell phone is too high. Okay. Now what happens? The costs are likely to fall. Costs are likely to fall means the costs are low. So now the entrepreneur started to invest more on the cell phones because each and every student required a cell phone now. Okay. So this will increase an investment more. Suppose if there is no demand at all. Okay. See, take an example of same cell phone. If there is no demand for cell phone at all, the cost is too high for the cell phone. So what happens to the investment? Whether the investment will increase or whether the investment will decrease. So the investment will automatically decrease. So this is the first one, demand for the product. If there is a demand for the product, automatically investment will be high. Next one, it is an liquid asset. Second one, we come to know about the liquid asset. So liquid asset means what? See, if an entrepreneur holding a larger volume of working capital, larger volume of liquid asset that is easily convertible. So if an entrepreneur having too much of capital amount of money in any purpose, okay, like a building, machineries, plant, equipments, like liquid assets, like cash holdings, certain things. If he hold too much of money means what happens to the investments? So automatically the investment will be increased. So liquid asset means large amount of capital. If an entrepreneur hold means what happens to the marginal efficiency of capital? So if an entrepreneur having too much of money, hold more liquid asset, so MEC automatically will increase. The same vice versa. If he is not having a money liquid asset, so what happens to its investment? Automatically his investment will be decreased. Okay. So next we come to know about and sudden changes in income. So the next factors which determine the marginal efficiency of capital is the sudden changes in income. Sudden changes in income means if an entrepreneur, if an owner, if a business community gets certain profit, okay. So if he gets certain profit, more profit, then tax concession. Tax concession means if tax's availability is reduced, then what happens to its investment? So automatically what happens? The marginal efficiency of capital will be increased. So if he receives more profit and there is a tax concession for him means automatically what happens? The marginal efficiency of capital will be increased. But on the other hand, what happens if his profit, if he receives any loss during its production period? So tax concession, there is no concession in taxes. So what happens to its marginal efficiency of capital? That is his investment. What happens to his investment? So if he does not receive any concession or he does not receive any profit, so automatically what happens? Marginal efficiency will be decreased. His investment will be decreased. Next one, we will come to know about the current rate of investment. So the most important one is the current rate of investment. So always a entrepreneur will be aware of his availability of the product. So which product which is demanded more. So if a product which is demanded more means, so what happens? The demand automatically will be increased. If there is no demand, okay, if there is no demand or any other things happens, so what happens to the rate of investment? See, if an entrepreneur is keep on investing in the same industry which does not gives any profit means what happens to the marginal efficiency of capital? So marginal efficiency of capital will be low. Next we come to know about the waves of optimisms and pessimisms. So optimisms and pessimisms means what? See, a positive entrepreneur, okay, a positive entrepreneur, a positive holder, a positive thinker who runs a business the business will be in an optimistic. So what happens? Its investment also will be increased. If an entrepreneur is in an pessimistic, if he has a negative thoughts, so what happens to its marginal efficiency of capital? Okay, so marginal efficiency of capital will be decreased. So see here we have 5 short run factors, that is marginal efficiency of capital will be increased or decreased during this period. So first one, it is a demand for the product. If the demand for the product is too high, cost is likely to be fall means marginal efficiency of capital will be high. That is investment will be high. If there is no demand for the product and the cost is too high means what happens to the investment? So investment will be decreased. Next one, it is a liquid asset. If an entrepreneur has a large amount of capital, if he holds an liquid assets more, what happens to its marginal efficiency of capital? So marginal efficiency of capital will be increased. Okay. Next one, it's a sudden changes in income. So if an entrepreneur receives some profit, some concessions or any other, so what happens to his investment? So automatically if he got some profit more or tax concession, his investment will be high. So if there is no tax concession or if there is no profit at all, means automatically his investment will be decreased. Next, current rate of investment. So current rate of investments, if an entrepreneur is keep on investing in the same industry, so what happens to the marginal efficiency of capital? So already so many entrepreneurs will be invested in the same industries. If we keep on investing in the same industries, what happens to the marginal efficiency of capital? So the marginal efficiency of capital will be low. Next, we come to know about the waves of optimism and pessimism. So if a businessman or if an entrepreneur is optimistic, so what happens to the marginal efficiency of capital? So an optimist thinker will be aware of its future. So what happens to its profit? What happens to its investment? So the investment will be high. So if a businessman is pessimistic, okay, so what happens to its marginal efficiency of capital? So the marginal efficiency of capital will be low. Next, we come to know about the long run factors. See here, long run factors is also one of the reason for changes in the investment. That is, marginal efficiency of capital will be changes due to long run factors. So first one is the rate of growth of population. See here, rate of growth of population is the most important one for speeding up the investment. See, if the population is too high, what happens? The demand for various commodity will be demanded. Okay. See, if population is too high, if populations are more, so what happens to the demand for the product? So the demand for the product will be too high. Okay. So the demand for the product will be too high. Demand for the product will be too high. There will be, it creates and various types of commodities, and the investment also will be decreased. See, if the population decreases or if there is an less population, so what happens to the investment? So if the populations are less, demand for the commodity will be less, and the investment also will be less. So in the long run factors, rate of growth of population is one of the factors which changes the investment. Next one is on technological progress. See here, technological progress is a very important one. See, if there is an if technologies, if we are using an high level of technologies, okay, we needed more technologies. So what happens to the investment? See, for example, see, if technologies, what happens? For example, they have given here the development of automobiles in the 20th century would greatly stimulate the rubber industry. See here, there is a joint. If one thing has been increased, means one thing in one sector, if there is an development, if there is an investment more, means automatically what happens? It creates an demand, it creates an investment for the other sectors also. So this is called as an technological factors plays an important role in the marginal efficiency of capital. Next one, we come to know about a monetary and fiscal policy. See here, monetary and fiscal policy plays an important role in the marginal efficiency of capital. See, the cheap money, they have to follow cheap money policy. Cheap money policy means the rate of interest should be reduced. Okay. So if the availability of rate of interest, it's that is low rate of interest, if it is available, means entrepreneur would be receives more loan from the bank and he will be starting his investment. So this is the first and most important under monetary terms. Second one is on fiscal policy. The most important one, if we invested, means that we have to take we have to follow the rules and regulations, and we have to take a license from the government. So the next most important is that the taxation. So tax plays an important role. So each and every entrepreneur should pay and taxes. So if there is a liberal tax, So if tax is too high means an entrepreneur can't able to bear. So if there is a tax concession and the tax is liberal means the marginal efficiency of capital will be high. Marginal efficiency of capital means it is an investment. So see, under monetary terms means if they are following a cheap money policy. We have two policy, one is dear money policy and cheap money policy. Under dear money means the rate of interest will be too high. Cheap money policy means the rate of interest will be low. If the bank provides cheap money policy means the entrepreneur will take an availability of loan. Okay, so marginal efficiency of capital will be high. The second one is in fiscal policy. Fiscal policy means if he gets a liberal tax rate. So if he gets a liberal tax rate means, so what happens to the investment? So automatically the investment also will be high. Next one, it is an political environment. The most important one to do an investment in an economy is the most important is political stability, smooth administration, maintenance of law and order. So this all helps the marginal efficiency of capital. Okay. So political environment is also another factors which determines the investment. So if there is a smooth political stability, administration, maintenance, law, okay, so what happens to the marginal efficiency of capital? Automatically the marginal efficiency of capital will be high. Next one, it's an resource availability. So resource availability means that is cheap and abundant availability of natural resources. Okay, if there is an cheap and availability of natural resources means, for example, labor, income, other minerals, if it is cheap and abundant means automatically the marginal efficiency of capital will be increased. Okay, so I will repeat. So marginal efficiency of capital under long run. So there are 5. So first one is rate of growth of population. If the populations are too high, demand for the product will be more and varieties of commodities will be demanded and investment will be high. Technological progress. So if there is a high level of technologies means automatically technology is dependent on one to one. So it is in cyclical changes. If one is developed means automatically there will be development in the another. So technological also is one of the factors that's responsible for changes in the investment. Then monetary policy. So if the availability of cheap money policy, investment will be high. Then tax rate, fiscal policy. So if there is a liberal tax rate and tax concession for the entrepreneur, marginal efficiency will be increased. Political environment. So if there is a smooth political administration, maintenance of law and order is smooth manner means automatically the marginal efficiency of capital will be increased. Resource availability. If the supply of resources are abundant and cheap means automatically marginal efficiency of capital will be increased. Okay. Next we come to know about the marginal efficiency of investment. The same as it is marginal efficiency of capital. Here they are explaining about the same. The rate of returns on investment has an additional investment are made under a specific condition over a period of time. If additional investment is added means, so what happens to the expected returns? That returns means it is a profit. If I am investing a 1 lakh means, so what will be my profit? So if I am investing 2 lakhs means additionally 1 more lakhs which has been added means, so what will be my additional profit? So this is called as a marginal efficiency of capital. Okay. So I will repeat. So what is marginal efficiency of capital? See, this concept was first introduced by J.M. Keynes in 1936. So he explains about the marginal efficiency of capital is the expected profitability of an additional capital asset. So generally my profit, my investment is certain means if additionally if I invest means what is my expected returns? That is called as a marginal efficiency of capital. So this marginal efficiency of capital which is depend on two. One is prospective yield and another one is supply price. Prospective yield means through an capital asset through the entire life, how much profit would have been received, expected. So what is the profit would have been received during its lifetime. So this is called as a prospective yield. Supply price means per annum how much of profit would have been received during through the capital asset. So prospective yield means its entire lifetime how much a profit would have been received. Supply price means how much of profit would have been received during the 1 year, during 1 year. That is called as a supply price. Next, factors affecting marginal efficiency of capital. This marginal efficiency of capital is depend on two. One is cost of capital asset. So the asset value should be moderate. Then only an entrepreneur can able to invest. If the asset value is too high, means he can't able to invest. Second one, how much of returns will be get. So expected returns, expected rate of returns from during its lifetime. Third one, market price of market rate of interest. So if an entrepreneur want to invest means, so the most important one, he has to get a loan. So the loan which is depend on rate of interest. Okay. Next, marginal efficiency of capital is influenced by short run as well as long run. So first one, it's a short run demand for the product. If the demand is for the product is high, costs are likely to be fall. So what happens to the investment? Automatically investment will be high. So liquid asset, if the asset holdings, liquid asset holdings by an entrepreneur is too high, too large, means automatically marginal efficiency of capital will be high. Sudden changes, if he receives more profit, less tax concession. So sorry, tax concession is less. So what happens to its marginal efficiency of capital? So marginal efficiency of capital will be high. Current rate of investment. If an entrepreneur is keep on investing on the same industry, so what happens to the marginal efficiency of capital? The marginal efficiency of capital will be low. Waves of optimism and pessimism. So an businessman think about his future in an optimistic manner and pessimistic manner. So it based on the marginal efficiency of capital. Next we come to know about the long run. So rate of growth of population. If the population is too high, demand for the commodity will be high, varieties of commodity will be available, investment will be high. Technological progress, if there is too much of technology, it creates a chain link, so automatically it develops, marginal efficiency of capital will be increased. Monetary and fiscal policy, so monetary means availability of cheap rate of interest, and then fiscal policy means tax concession. So if it is good manner means automatically marginal efficiency of capital will be high. Political environment means, so smooth running, smooth administration means marginal efficiency of capital will be high. Resource availability, supply of labors and cheap resource availability means automatically marginal efficiency of investment will be high. Marginal efficiency of investment, the same as it is. So if there is an investment means expected rate of returns through its investment. Okay, so up to this I will stop. The remaining will be continued in the next class. Thank you students.